All right. Sorry for the delay, my friends. Here we go. Hi, baby. You good girl. be about another minute, my friends. Thank you. Hello everybody, good to see y'all. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research channel. Excuse me. Hope you're doing well tonight on Tuesday, well, Wednesday. I keep thinking it was Tuesday. So, happy Wednesday. Got a weekday show. Don't get to do these too often, but got a good one for you tonight. So we are going to dive into Robert Baer's NDE, and it's one of the more well-known NDEs out there. Just went through it again recently, and it's really like a life script on steroids. It's incredible, because it's not just the NDE. It's everything going on in his life that he shares with us. So let's dive into it. And this is going to show further evidence and support of the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap. And if you're new here, just subscribed. I do have a couple backup channels just in case something should ever happen here. And an ODYSEE, a DLIVE, and some other stuff if you check the description. So let's roll. All right, here we go.
Invariably, whenever I give a talk, there are people that probably need to hear what I have to say. And I need to hear what they have to say, too. That's why I'm here living right now again. But my background, I was a California highway patrolman I was policeman for 23 years. And have you ever seen the TV show Chips?
Yeah.
That's what I did for a living. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, Santa Cruz, and in LA it was East LA, South LA, Watts. I had a great life doing what I did, but I was a different person, totally different person. I'm sorry to do that, Dave. So different that a lady wrote a book about me.
Wow.
Deborah Diamond, Life After Near Death. Because I am no longer the same person that I was. I was probably a AA personality and probably very rigid by the book, black and white, and just went with the job. And
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. The only thing he said was he wasn't the same person. He's not the same person. And all I said was basically that's probably defines us too, right? I mean, you go through this whole awakening process and you look back at your old self and it's barely recognizable. So yeah, thank you for letting me know about the mic being muted. And thank you so much, Monkey Man, for the $10 super chat. Says, love your channel, man. Thank you so much.
Other things I've done, I've been a university professor, city manager, an international business consultant. And right now, I don't know how I've got where I've gotten, but I'm a grant writer. And I've been doing that since I had a faculty tech staff job in Oregon Tech in '93. But I enjoy doing that, and I've been doing that for nonprofits. So it's all give back. And I was down in Phoenix, Arizona in 2009. It was March, and my birthday is March 21st. So I usually go down for a week, and I spend some time with my son, who was a high school football, baseball, basketball coach and a history teacher at a high school down there. And whenever he had a spring break, I would go down and I'd spend time with him and my granddaughters. And we go to different spring training games and do things like that. And when you live on the coast like I do, and you probably get a little bit of that from the Bay Area here because the climate here is so nice. It's not unusual to go into a real hot climate and you feel uncomfortable. And I did when I was in Phoenix. It was about 100 degrees. It was unusually hot. But I had a full physical where you have the treadmill and all the lab work and doctor's exam, and I'd passed with flying colors. This was at the end of 2008. And I had a friend call me, just a former police friend. He called me and said, Robert, I feel compelled to call you. And I said, you know, what's up? And I knew him from the 60s. We'd worked together. And he said, I just have to know if you're right with the Lord. And I said, what? And he said, something's compelling me to ask you. And that discussion led into a few other things, like I told him I had a physical, and so I felt great and everything. And we left the conversation at that.
Okay, so right away you can kind of get the sense that we're moving into a territory where something's going to happen. This is a premonition on his friend's behalf. And he's getting a little bit of a little jolt right here.
And shortly after that, my mother passed in 2005. And I was in my bed one night, and I awoke, and at the foot of my bed was my mother. She was beautiful. She was young, absolutely beautiful. I thought maybe I was dreaming, but she was communicating with me. And I don't know how to say what language or whatever, but we could talk to one another.
Okay, so he gets a full-blown apparition of his mother. Okay. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the NDE yet, so it's like building up to that point, and then there's even more. It's this is like it is seriously a crazy life script on steroids, because he's having all of these experiences throughout his life, and it's part of his script. It's the Matrix has given him this, and then he has a book written about him. He the first time he told his NDE, which he'll get into later, it was given like on a TV research documentary or documentary research team or something like that. I never got to see that specifically, and that was the first time he shared it. And then ever since then, like, his name is all over the place, and think about it. The Matrix has a perfect marketing department. These experiencers go up there. They have all these types of experiences while they're alive. They think everything is divine and in place. And then the person experiencing it goes out and does the bidding of the Matrix. Look, everything's fine. The light's great. Everything's cool. You belong here.
And my mother told me to get my affairs in order, that I was going to die.
Get his affairs.
When she left, I was sweating so profusely. I mean, it was so real. I thought, holy cow! I couldn't go back to. I just couldn't go back to sleep. And the other thing that happened, that felt.
Get your affairs in order. Seriously, get your affairs in order. Mom's coming. Hey, get it going. Gotta take that one seriously, right? I mean, Christ. Deceased mom comes in and says, okay, son, time to get your affairs in order. Oh, boy. Okay, it's almost time to leave.
That had called me to ask me if I could go. So real. I thought, holy cow! I couldn't go back to. I just couldn't go back to sleep. And the other thing that happened, that fellow that had called me to ask me if I was right with the Lord, he died.
How about that? So mom comes right before that. It's such a weird chain of events that occur, but it's in lockstep with what can happen. And this guy's just getting it all.
I actually went down and I helped with his eulogy. And it was just a series of incidents that happened. And before I went to Arizona, I was in bed one night, woke up, and there was my friend at the foot of the bed, the same guy. And he goes,
listen.
Bed one night, Woke up, and there was my friend at the foot of the bed, the same guy. And he goes, I'm going to bring you through the light. And it was the same thing where I could talk to him.
No.
The foot of the bed, the same guy. And he goes, I'm going to bring you through the light.
I'm going to bring you through the light. Time to comply. Get in line. I'm here. Are you right with the Lord? So you get the Lord, are you right with the Lord warning while he's alive? He dies, comes back, an apparition at the end of the bed, very common in the end of the bed or, in the house. And he's going to say, I'm taking you to the light. That's not a very sovereign decision, right? Not at all. This is how the trap works, because this is textbook example of how someone could theoretically, well, most of the time we're referring to deathbed visions and visitations. This is what it is, a deathbed visions, visitations, premonition, okay? And their job is to prep you while right before you're going out. It could be as far out as like 6 months, maybe even a year, that you may get like a warning sign. And then as you get closer and closer, you may get more and more visits. And then as, leading into the day or last couple days is when things can get really wacky and where they're being more persistent, and they're showing you things, making you feel good, sometimes getting even like a mini life review. All sorts of different things can happen, but their number one objective is to get you to go with them on your way out. When you're crossing over, they're ready and waiting. This is how the trap works. It's so clear when you can see it through, but in this case he's alive. Okay, it's definitely different. But the point is you can see like the automatic program running in the Matrix, right? Because it's like, okay, they must know that he's going to have an NDE, or possibly even die. Maybe they could go back and forth. Who knows? And the Matrix sends out its minions to work at the behest of it, to make sure that, you're coming to the light. You're coming with us. Are you right with the Lord? Praise the Lord. Praise the apparition.
The foot of the bed, the same guy. And he goes, I'm going to bring you through the light. And it was the same thing where I could talk to him. And I said, what? We were talking, and I said, Don, you look great. So I'm going to bring you through the light.
They always look great.
And all of a sudden he said, I have to leave now. I want to go see my grandchildren in Sacramento. That's the last thing he said. And I woke up, the same thing. I could not do anything for a couple days. It was just like, it was like the Twilight Zone. But I just had a physical. I passed with flying colors. I kind of thought, I'm in pretty good health.
Sorry, I'm headed out to San Francisco, or wherever the hell it was. See you in a little while.
And I was 60 years old at the time. So I thought, just happened. I did find out that his grandkids did live in Sacramento and made some calls. So that was confirmed. I just had to know.
Sacramento.
But anyways, I went to Phoenix, visited with my son and my granddaughters. The whole week I just felt terrible. I felt nauseated. It was just, I didn't feel good. And I thought, man, I can hardly wait to get back to Oregon. And I could really use some of that coastal rain. I just love that climate. And so my son dropped me off at the airport. We said our goodbyes. And I just wasn't feeling good. I walked in the terminal, used the restroom, looked at the TSA line. It was just, so long, and I thought, how am I going to do this? So I went to the TSA line, and then there was a little market there where you could buy aspirins. I bought a couple aspirins thinking, well, it's probably a good thing I did. I took them, and I thought...
Okay, so think about it. He buys an aspirin. What does that do? That usually helps with the heart. And then he's like, probably good that I did. I'd have to agree with that. I think it's interesting he bought aspirin.
TSA line, and then there was a little market there where you could buy aspirins. I bought a couple aspirins thinking, well, it's probably a good thing I did. I took them, and I thought, I'm going to John Wayne this and get home to Oregon. Well, I got on the plane, and as I was putting my luggage in the overhead bin, I dropped dead.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
And
wow.
I was so blessed. There were 2 firemen from the Seattle area that were on the plane. They hadn't taken off.
Again, I mean, how many NDEs do we run into where, struck by lightning, they're just while you're at a payphone in the middle of the Midwest out in nowhere, and a nurse just happens to be behind you, on a plane, and there's, paramedics. I mean, I guess on a plane it would be, a lot more common for paramedics to be there, but it's just always interesting how there's always, these convenient medical crews ready and available to care for many of these NDEers.
From the Seattle area that were on the plane. They hadn't taken off, and they started to give me CPR. I don't remember any of this with them because I gravitated into light, and someone was with me. I don't know who it was. I like to think it was my friend who told me that he would. We were policemen together for years, and it was kind of like a brotherhood, or a brother and sisterhood. And I just started.
Yeah, usually a Masonic brotherhood.
Together for years, and it was kind of like a brotherhood, or a brother and sisterhood.
Yeah.
And I just started to go up into this light, and it was the most wonderful feeling. Nothing else mattered. Nothing. And as I gravitated up there, the next thing that I remember, I was in the presence of, it still gives me chills to think about it, a divine power. I mean, I could not even.
Okay. Now I want you to look at his eyes, because that's what I like to really look at, the eyes when I'm watching NDE. Okay. I like to look at facial expressions. I like to look at hand gestures. Shrinking shoulders, upright shoulder, just body language in general, okay? Because I'm trying to sniff out the bullshit, okay? Because there's plenty of them out there. Well, not plenty, but I mean, there's enough out there that, you should be concerned, especially the ones that are heavily religious, okay? I'm not talking about, seeing Jesus or seeing God, even though, yes, there's a religious component to those. It's when they're back here and they're like gung-ho religion, Christian, gung-ho this, gung-ho Muslim. It doesn't matter. You pick the religion. If they have an NDE, most NDEs, real NDEs, they're just spiritual when they come back. They don't necessarily align with a specific religion. They might be gung-ho for Christ or Muhammad or whoever that maybe they met, or something they perceive to be God. But they're not necessarily inundating you with religious propaganda, okay? Or dogma, okay? So that's something to look out for. So let's look in his eyes, right? I know this is going to take a little while, but I'm doing this for a reason, because it's a good lesson for all of us to use in discernment when we're going through these things. Because there's a lot, like everything else in this world, there's a lot of bullshit.
I was in the presence of, and nothing else mattered. Nothing was light. And it was the most wonderful feeling.
Okay, sorry, I got to rewind a little bit more.
And it was my friend.
I know I'm going a little far, but you'll see his eyes start to tear up when he starts to think about who he was dealing with, okay? So yeah, you could say, oh yeah, there's actors out there. Yeah, there's always actors. The point is you want to knock down the chance of running into some bullshit. That's all.
Who told me that he would...
I mean, look, they're all glassy.
We were policemen together for years, and it was kind of like a brotherhood, or a brother and sisterhood. And I just started to go up into this light, and it was the most wonderful feeling. Nothing else mattered. Nothing. And
Oops. Just look.
As I gravitated up there, the next thing that I remember...
You see tears.
I was...
You get the point.
In the presence of...
Shaking the head.
It still gives me chills to think about it. A divine power. I mean, I could not even look. It was so humbling. I couldn't even look. And I was being talked to. I remember being asked, "What good have I done?"
What good have you done? Hey, come here. Over here. Hey, over here. What good have you done? What good have you done? See? That's like, hey, welcome, come on in. Here's the love bomb you're feeling in the energy, but here's Mr. Demon. What have you done? What good have you done? See what I mean? It just like Jesus, being intimidating, all these things.
Remember being asked, what good have I done? I just couldn't look. But the next thing I remember...
Now, okay, I know I'm going to rewind it just a second, but it's... I couldn't look. Just like in the Bible, you can't look. I forgot the whole thing related to that. Thank God. But you can, there's a little bit of programming right there. I can't look. Couldn't look.
But the next thing I remember, there's all these souls. It's like an auditorium type thing, but it's not an auditorium. It's just all over.
Okay, I mean, I'm sorry to stop it again, but, auditorium. How many times we talk about in NDEs where people feel like they enter something like an auditorium or a stadium or something grand, some big grand entrance, and like he is the center, he would be the center of attention, or whatever NDE we would go over would be the center of attention. Now, they're not all like that, but I'm just saying this is one of these common points that show up time and time again. And what is that to do? Massage the ego. Make you feel nice and special. Ooh. You see, I mean, see what I'm saying? But, and no, I always like to say this during NDE when I'm talking about someone. Robert, this is no offense to you, my friend. Or your experience. I just have an opposing view as to what you were dealing with and your story. It's not that I don't believe you. It's just that it's who is manipulating. That's all.
All these souls. It's like an auditorium type thing, but it's not an auditorium. It's just all over. And my life, I had a life review. And it started from the day I was born until the day I died. And I know some people here have heard this before, like Kent's heard it a couple times, but
Good old Kent.
don't mean to be boring to you there, but I remember seeing things that were just, not only were they actual things that happened, I could feel myself going through things myself, but I also could feel everybody else's feelings and thoughts about me. It was terrible. I mean, when you have a lot of power like I did as a policeman, you affect a lot of lives.
You can say that again. That's a rough field to be in and be stacked up against the life review. Imagine if you're really dirty, a real dirty cop. That cannot be easy. I'll hold back on.
And the same thing with being a city manager or a big boss where you, maybe you've terminated somebody or maybe something's happened and you wish you could have another chance to redo it. But I saw myself. I mean, I had a stuttering problem when I was young. And I saw my grandmother. My grandmothers were so special to me, both of them. There was one in particular that would work with me with my stuttering. She would get me to slow down. And she had seen Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. And I would ask her to tell me about this. And she'd say, Robert, I just told you about that. But then she'd sit there and tell it to me again. And it was so good to be around her and my other grandmother.
It was so good to be there. Of course. I mean, this is, I know I crack jokes and I'm sarcastic and stuff, but my heart goes out to anyone who goes through these experiences. Okay. We all have our loved ones. Okay. We all have things that we have attached to while here. And if you don't know what's going on with the soul trap and realize just how powerful those attachments are, you're going to come back. And at a minimum, you're going to still be within the confines of the matrix system. Okay. So poor Robert here is, he's having an amazing experience, but these are attachments. And I'll go a step further and say that it's possible that they're not even real. Okay? Okay, it's possible that they're just matrix constructs that are projecting themselves to him and feel real. Okay? Because you have the love bomb, this and that, and, all this high, intensive energy, euphoria. You just thought you met a divine, godly type being, and then you're meeting loved ones on top of it.
Me again, and it was so good to be around her and my other grandmother. They were so special, and I remember the Christmas, especially of 1954, her last Christmas. My parents had given her a Kodak Brownie Instamatic camera. I don't know if you remember those. Some of you might.
1954.
But
1954.
I remember watching my grandmother. My dad gave her the camera, and she goes, "This is too complicated. I don't want this." And he was showing her how to load the film and do everything. And now in retrospect, I'm just thinking, what would it be like if she had a cell phone? And that's how I am with my granddaughters. They'll sit there and they'll say, "Grandpa, you need this application, you need that." I don't want that. And then next thing I know, after I leave, after they visit me and leave, I got all these things on my phone that I didn't want. But I watched that, and it was so good to see her. But I also saw myself with life lessons. When I was probably about 5 years old, We used to get in a station wagon and drive to San Jose and go shopping on Saturdays. And I remember I was in the store and I asked my mother, actually I asked my father, can I get some baseball cards? They were a nickel. And my dad goes, ask your mother. So I went and asked my mother and she goes, no, can't have them. I stole them. And I got home with my parents and I was off in my bedroom and my mom opened the door and I had opened it up and I was just putting this little hard stick chewing gum in my mouth and my mother goes, Robert, where'd you get that? And I got busted, so she goes, that's it. So she got my dad, they've loaded me up in the car, took me back to the store, made me apologize to the store owner. And my mom goes, call the police, take him to jail, we don't care. He needs to learn a lesson. I did learn a lesson from that. A real good life lesson. And I'm so blessed that my father was still alive. And when I told him what I had saw, I said, you did your job as a parent. It was so powerful. All the different things I saw, the things that I had done, I had a paper route. We went to high school together.
Were you on a paper route?
I was San Jose Mercury News, yeah. And you remember my 56 Chevy?
It was just like our 56 Chevy. You had a
Yeah.
white one. Go ahead.
I had that. There were a couple ladies in Santa Cruz that wanted me to be their boyfriend, and I did not want to. My girlfriend was my car.
Okay, so reminiscing, going through some poignant moments that pertain to the life review. You know, making him feel nostalgic, making him feel proud of his father. And rightfully so. You know, teaching morals, ethics. You know, it's a good thing. But you can see how, you know, these big moments in NDE can really, really take hold of someone when they come back here. And during the experience, obviously. But when they come back here, you know, it's a different world. And they have the confirmation of all confirmations that there is something godly, something divine, you know, life goes on, you know, past this meat suit. And, well, how easy is it to get to someone when they pass? And how easy is it to turn that experiencer into a marketing representative for the Matrix? It's the perfect setup. It doesn't get any easier than that. I say time and time again that you have to tip your hat to just how in-depth this whole system is. How diabolical it is. It's nuts. It's incredible what they can do. But remember, my friends, all they have are illusions, deception, manipulation. That is it. If you don't allow them that power, they've got nothing. And that's the positive part to this whole soul trap thing. You know, everyone says, oh, you're negative, you're negative. No. What's more positive than sovereignty and liberation when you leave here? Doesn't get much better than that. It's incredible. Otherwise, you want to come back here? You want to come back here? No. I know I don't. Never again. So if things sound bad or they may hurt your feelings, well, I'm sorry. It is what it is. And this is my style. It's my delivery. And that's it. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings or anything, but it's my way of coping. Okay, being sarcastic, trying to be funny about this. If I was to sit here and just be doom and gloom all the time, it would suck. I wouldn't be able to do this. So, I know I get some heat once in a while, but we gotta make light of it as best we can. It is what it is.
Every penny I made went into that car, whether it was chrome reverse rims or whatever, putting the shift on the floor and floorboard and stuff like that. That's all I wanted to do. But there was one particular girl from Santa Cruz, and my parents had a place in Santa Cruz and a place in San Jose. So weekends we were in Santa Cruz, weekends in the summer. Then we were in San Jose during the regular work week because my dad was a contractor. And in fact, they owned Landmark Builders and built up a lot of Silicon Valley. So I was in Santa Cruz, and this young lady came by and she said, wanted me to go with her to the dance at the Coconut Grove.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to go cruising Beach Street with my friends. And I said, I can't go with you. So she got...
This one, my friends, pay attention. It's, ooh.
To the Coconut Grove.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to go cruising Beach Street with my friends. And I said, I can't go with you. So she got mad at me, and she came back and gave me this letter. Gave me a letter. Went with 3 other people. They got in a crash that night and died.
Whoa.
How about that? How about that one? Again, life script on steroids, my friend. Wow.
And gave me this letter. Gave me a letter. Went with 3 other people. They got in a crash that night and died.
Whoa.
Tell you how small of a world it is, too. The guy that worked that crash ended up working for me on the highway patrol.
You hear this? The guy ended up working for him on highway patrol. What? It again, just life script on steroids. I know I'm pausing it a lot, but you got to let this one sink in. It is so filled. It's incredible.
And died.
Whoa.
Tell you how small of a world it is, too. The guy that worked that crash ended up working for me on the highway patrol. I found out all about it. But when I saw my life review, as it got to that point, I heard a voice say, "You never opened my letter."
Boy, that'll make you feel good, right? Oh, man. Robert. Poor man.
I know who it was. And believe me, when I came back from being deceased, it's taken its toll on me personally.
I bet.
But
Heart goes out.
I saw
to him.
that. It registered in me. I saw myself as a highway patrolman working in Watts. There's one incident that I usually talk about, and down in South LA Watts, after the riot, it was very tense. There was a lot of anger and hate. It was horrible. And it wasn't unusual to make a stop in the projects, which are usually 2 or 3 stories high, and you'd be out writing a ticket, and all of a sudden you'd see a couple rifles pointing at you. It was intimidating. And one night I was on a stop with my friend, and we were arresting somebody, and we heard some gunshots go off. And the next thing I know, I see a guy running at me with a rifle. And I yelled at him to halt, but he didn't. And for some reason, I would have been justified to do something, but I did not do it. And he actually was coming to get us to help him because somebody had robbed him. But when I saw this in my life review, I actually heard, "Thanks for not shooting me." I actually heard that.
Thanks for not shooting me. I mean, really? That makes him feel good, right? That's a good hook. I mean, seriously, I want you guys to put yourself in this man's shoes and ask yourself, if all of these things happen to you, would you possibly be able to figure everything out about the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap? How hard would it be for you to question all of these experiences and come out the other end okay? And see it for what it is. It has to be close, if not impossible, to do so. Okay? So just remember, when you think about the NDEs that you listen to and how, you know, we can, you know, laugh and be sarcastic and stuff like that, you have to take into account that if you had one of these experiences prior to seeing what's going on, you may not be able to figure this out, just like all the billions of others who can't see it. Okay? So try and cut them some slack. You know, a lot of times we hear things that, you know, we don't agree with, but at the same time, you got to put yourself in their shoes. You do. They're just at a period in this incarnation and in their existence within this matrix, the entire matrix, including the astral, where they're just not, it's not their time. It's not their time.
"Thanks for not shooting me." I actually heard that. It was so humbling what I saw. I've done so many things in life. I've owned cattle. I've been a professor. All these different things where I've interacted with people, and to see how they felt about me and what I thought, what they thought, and what actually happened, just something that I'm still having troubles dealing with.
Still having trouble dealing with them. Very common. These are not easy situations. So there's like a period of depression usually for like at least a year, but it's about usually about 2 years, at least according to the research. But, you know, of course, if you're living through this as an individual and have this, you know, it could last 5-10 years, or, you know, you can make it through on the other side with most of it, but still have these little hot button things that occurred that really eat at you, like coming back.
And one of the other things that is so unusual, I saw colors that don't exist in this world. Absolutely brilliant. And I've been so blessed. There are some times I can usually feel when it's about ready to happen. I can actually sit down, and I'm single. I'm not married, so I just sit down I get out of bed. I sit down, get a glass of juice or something like that, and I can see the colors again. Just absolutely phenomenal.
By the way, it's funny he mentions that, because I have a mix that I'm going to do a commentary on, just about the colors and the vibrant areas or part of the realms that NDEers go through, coming up. So keep an eye on the channel. That might be this weekend, actually.
And if you get a chance to go to an IONS conference, or you get a chance to start looking into some of the things that I'm discussing, you're going to find that people have a variety of things that happen to them when they've passed. But there are some consistent things that I've noticed. And when I first went to talk about my near-death experience, I really didn't want to do it. But I felt compelled to do it. And I interviewed for that job, the TV show, I Survived Beyond and Back. I had no idea that it would become such a hit worldwide. And it just led to a lot of different things for me. And I had never, ever talked about it to anybody ever before. And when I was interviewed for the show, I was totally by myself. They didn't have you in a room with a bunch of other people. They put you in a studio. They picked up your medical records to verify everything, to substantiate what you'd gone through health-wise, and then they interviewed you. And I was just curious as to, when I asked the producer when it was all over, am I normal for a NDE? And she goes, they're pretty consistent. She says, we're finding that out. It was a research thing. And when I had my life review, I couldn't look at the higher power. I just couldn't do it.
I wonder if it's like a inner thing. Again, we touched on the religious aspect of, can't look. But, what if it's like the energy being emitted to him? Don't look at me. Don't look at me. You might figure out I'm a fake. Kind of like how sometimes you don't always see the faces in the NDEs. You see the robes, you see, it's like this little game of cat and mouse, and then sometimes you do see something resembling a face.
But I saw something fidget off to the side.
This is, if it, just to add insult to injury, what you're going to hear next is like, okay, all this other stuff's happened. And now this.
And I looked, and my dog had died in 2000. Her name was Scooter. She was a black and white border collie. She was there. I saw her. And I thought, I didn't know they were part of the afterlife. It was so good to see her. She couldn't come to me, but I know she was there. And I ended up being revived, coming back to my body, and then they lost me again. And my second near-death experience, I was up on top of the emergency room bed, watching them work on me, and I could see the flat line. I could see it. I could hear everybody panicking and saying we lost him and so on and so forth. And then in another part of the hospital, I saw two people going through my wallet, trying to find my insurance cards. And all of a sudden, my attention went from me to my wallet, and I was trying to tell them where, because I am in a special place. And then I realized they can't hear me. I'm dead.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, they pulled out my police ID, and they go, "Whoa, wait a minute! This guy's a retired highway patrol." When I was hooked up to all those machines in recovery, the doctor asked me, was talking to me, and he was really interested in if I recalled anything, and I told him. And I told him about the people that were going through my wallet. She says, wait a minute. He got the people that were going through my wallet, brought them to my bed, and he says, you tell them what you saw.
So this, again, one of the most all-inclusive NDEs and life scripts we'll likely run across. And it's medically verified. Okay? I mean, it hits all the points. All the points.
Wait a minute. He got the people that were going through my wallet, brought them to my bed, and he says, you tell them what you saw. And I told them. And they go, that's exactly what happened. So I had 2 different experiences when I passed. And if you hear somebody get up and talk about hovering over their bed, I believe them. Watching people work on them, I believe it.
Me too.
If you see people going to a life review, I believe it. We are at the point, and I brought this up the last time I talked to this group. Whether you're Mark Twain or Marco Polo or Christopher Columbus, you were an explorer, or in Mark Twain's case, he liked to travel. And he would come back to San Francisco, rent a hall. There were no pictures. There was no video. There was him talking to a group. The same thing with Marco Polo, Christopher Columbus. They talked to the Queen and her people, explained what they'd seen, and so on and so forth. That's all I can do to you. There's no pictures. There's no videos. There's nothing to document it. It's just the fact that I'm standing up here telling you what I saw. If you want to believe me, that's fine. If you don't want to believe me, I accept that. But since I've been doing this, and Dave gave me my first break, if you want to call it that. Kathy Baker was supposed to speak, and she had been on that television show with me, and she got sick, and she called me and arranged for me to come here.
It's funny how you always replace people.
And that started my speaking. But this group was the first one I spoke to. This is the 3rd time I've spoke here. But it's wonderful. I mean, being able to get up. I get up every day. I live every day like it's my last day. And I would encourage everybody to take a good look at where your life is, because everything is pretty much small stuff for me. I'm serious. I don't worry about a lot of things. If I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, I don't. But I'm not going to fret over it. And I'm not the same person that I was. Even my children have told me they like me better now. But I would encourage you, every chance you have, to listen to somebody who's been where I've been, because that is one of the top 10 questions of all time. What happens to me when I die? People like me will give you their account. You may want to hear another 10 or 20 of them.
Or maybe 2,000 or 3,000.
You may want to get on YouTube and take a look at some of the people that have put themselves out there. It's hard because you face a lot of wrath from people, but then when you realize, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. I think I'm supposed to be doing this. And
I think I'm supposed to be doing this. again. Matrix Marketing Department. Ring, ring, ring. Matrix Marketing Department, how may I help you? Yes, we've got a Robert Beer. We need to schedule a near-death experience for him. I don't know, let's make it April 1st. April Fool's Day. I think that would be a good day. And we're going to, you know, roll out the red carpet for him, and then he's going to come down, and people are going to write books for him. He's going to go on tour. He's going to be IAN's leader, and it's going to go out well. All right. Okay. Okay. Is that all? Thank you for calling the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap Department. Have a good day.
I'm glad I'm here. Everybody here in this room is here because they're thinking about that in some way, shape, or form, what happens to them when they die.
Yeah.
They are. And other things have happened to me. I don't talk about it a lot. I don't dwell on it a lot. But I have like medium tendencies. And for example, I was in a Walmart, which was a mistake. I never should have did this. But I was in a line in Walmart, and something said something about Chinese dragon red. I heard it. So I asked this lady, I said, did you just paint a wall Chinese dragon red? And she goes, oh, yes, I did. How did you know? And then I don't know why I said that. It was a mistake. It was a mistake because her and a couple other people followed me out to my car. And I have those issues. They're very strong, and it happens. And I know there's ways to develop them. I can't go there right now. Can't do it. But I never had that happen before I had my near-death experience. But I mean, I have strong things. And Yvonne Kaysen, the lady that I pinch hitted for tonight, we talk about that. We talk pretty much every day. And she's a medical doctor. She's the one who coined the phrase spiritually transmitted experience.
Transformative.
Yeah, that's her. STE. She's been doing research for 30 years. She's an experiencer. And it's amazing, after all these years, Alliance has been in existence for 40 years. David, we're the first two experiencers that have been at the top. Her and I. And we've kind of opened up our thought process and the process of the organization. But to be all-encompassing. And I think you're going to find, if you go to the conference, you're going to find that to be the case. It'll be a great time. But what time we have here?
Not 20 after.
20
You
after?
could go on. Or...
Yeah, I got a couple more things I could talk about.
Okay. Now that's a perfect time for me to step in and take a break. I've gone way over time, but wanted to get that whole thing out there. And there's a little bit more, and then I have a question and answer session he has that we're going to get into. We've still got a little ways to go, my friends. But the way the Q&A starts off, it's a good question from one of the audience members. So just to let you know, this segment has another 11 minutes, and then we'll get into the Q&A. So we'll take a 5-minute break right now, and I'll see you back shortly. And got some good stuff coming your way. So thank you so much. Oh, really quickly, I wanted to send many thanks and appreciation to World Eater for the $5 Australian dollar donation or super chat. Thank you so much, World Eater. That's very kind of you. I like your name, by the way. And Enemy of 322, thanks again, brother. Always kind of you, sending 5 New Zealand dollars. With the incredible sticker. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And just so you guys know, I do have channel memberships available where we do once a month members live streams for levels 2 and 3, and you can check the pinned comment for that. And then also for anyone interested in leaving a tip, there's also the Stream Elements way to donate securely through credit card, and you could find that in the description tab as well as in the pinned comment above if you're watching a live stream. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a few moments, my friends. Take care. here. Okie doke. Just spilled water all over me. Welcome back. Thank you for your patience, my friends. So we got some more to get into. Just really quickly wanted to give a shout out to Ken. It's always good to see you, brother. Do I sleep? I do sleep. Yes, I sleep. Shannon, good to see you. Shannon Jones, World Eater, thank you. Papu to Schmep, welcome. Good to see you again, my friend. David Kane, good to see you. Jimmy, thank you so much for your help. Anne, thank you so much for your help. Always good to see you. Vince, good to see you, brother. Gretchen, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sister. T, I hope you're feeling better, T. I heard you weren't feeling so well lately, so. And Deanna Sovereign D. All right. So, and everyone else out there who I may have missed, just kind of scrolled up the most recent chat, and let's get back into it. All right.
I don't want to bore everybody here.
No, you're not boring us at all, brother.
One of the things that stood out in my mind was the ability to relive your life. And some of the best days of my life, I got to relive them. When I was 16 years old,
What happened?
I was with a couple of friends. We were down surfing down in Southern California, and I met this girl that it was probably the love of my life at the time. And she came up to San Francisco. She lived in Newport Beach, and that was probably one of the best days of my life. And even though her mom dragged us around because she was like 15 years old, but I got to relive that.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And I think about the bad, but I think about the good too. There's a lot of good things that happen in your life. And one of the things that I'm about to write, I've had so many people want me to write a book, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to start the book, because this actually happened. When I was in Phoenix, all I wanted to do was go home. They didn't want me to leave the hospital. I'd been on all these machines and stuff, and it got to the point where I was fine. So the doctor said, look, you need another surgery. I know somebody that can do it, a colleague of mine in Eugene, but as soon as you get there, you're going to have the surgery. So that happened. I went into a hospital, had the surgery, and this was a colleague of his. They knew each other, and I was in the recovery room, and it was raining in Eugene. I was just laying down, and all of a sudden I looked, and there's this old nun sitting next to me, and I thought, am I dead? And I looked over at her, And I said, "Are you real?" And she goes, "Yes, I'm real." And she'd been praying for me.
Wow.
And
Kind of makes you wonder, are you real? Right? I mean, he's asking it while he's here, getting confirmation from a nun. But seriously, ask yourself, even though NDEers say, oh, well, it's the most real thing I've ever experienced in my life. The reason why it's so real is because it feels so good. All right. But you're out of your body. Okay. You leave this meat suit into a form that you're familiar with. And then on top of it, they pound you with the love bomb or a hell-like NDE. Okay. But most of them, it's almost in like the 90 percentile. I think it's like 13% are negative NDEs. And, but again, like you're asking what's real when are you real when you're down here? Why are you asking, are you real when you're out there?
she said, "Can you do me a favor?" And I said, "I don't know." And she goes, "My whole life, I've been a nun. I've always wondered about people that have crossed over and come back, and I just want to, can you tell me about it?" And I said, "Well, how did you find out about me?" She says, "Everybody in the hospital knows about you." And so, because I had been dead for a long time. So I said, "Well, can you wait till I recover? I'm out of the recovery room." And she goes, "Oh, yes." And that's how I'm going to start my book. Being
Oh, great.
in that recovery room, her right next to me,
Yeah.
wanting to know if I was alive or dead or what was going on. And she's one of two persons that I've told everything to.
Wow.
And she cried. It was very emotional. But you know something? She needed to hear it. She needed to hear there's a higher power. I experienced it. Whether somebody wants to believe it or not, I experienced it. No one will ever convince me any differently. And one more thing I'd like to recommend. I don't know why this popped up one night. I was on YouTube, and I was actually looking at some documentary about Napoleon, and this thing popped up on the side, and it was George Harrison's last interview, the Beatle.
Oh.
If you ever get a chance to see that, all you got to do is watch the first 5 minutes. Everything that I've told you, he was about to experience. He talked about fame, fortune, power. He should have been worried about what was going to happen to him when he died. It's a very compelling interview. I'd strongly recommend you see it. And it really hit home to me. And it probably got me to the point where I felt like I could talk. And one other thing that happened, I was driving back from California one night from visiting my father, and I was going along the Umpqua River Canyon late at night trying to make it home, and I had the window rolled down because I was getting tired. So I had the radio on and I lost everything, but there was one station that I could get. That was it. It was an AM station. And I think the message was for me. I never listened to George Ori's Coast to Coast show.
Sure.
But there it was.
Oh, George Snorri, you mean?
he had assembled a panel of so-called experts on near-death experiences.
Wow.
I could not believe what I heard. It was totally opposite of what I had experienced.
Oh, by the way, George, if you ever want me to come onto the show, no offense intended, I'd like to spread the truth of the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap.
And then I found out none of those people were NDEers. They had put themselves forward as experts. A lot of them were counselors and in the academic world. And I'd been in the academic world myself as a professor. And I know what that's all about. I mean, I just know how you have the feeling that you're masters of your subject matter or whatever. And that really encouraged me to come forward. Because I didn't want people to not know what happened to me. And I found IANS only through Kathy Baker, who was on the show with me, my same episode. She lives in Sacramento. Just a wonderful person. She's talked to this group before. And she encouraged me to go forward. And here I am. This is a great experience. And I know some of you have written me here before, personally. I try to get to the messages. Sometimes they're pretty difficult because I'm about 7,500 behind or something like that. It's just because I speak in different locations. I'll be in Toronto and Chicago. And I know after I did an interview for the William Shatner show, when that comes on, I know there'll be a lot of interest from that. And the same thing with Yvonne Kaysen. And here again, the 28th of February is when she'll be on Dr. Oz.
William Shatner. Space, the Final Frontier. Fake Space, the Final Frontier.
I would strongly recommend you see her. And especially because she's going to be coming here at some point or time. But
Michael.
when you get to know people,
He wasn't earlier.
you'll be able to form your own judgment. And some of you are here have had near-death experiences. I know it. And this is a good group. This is one of the best groups I've spoken to, and I've been in groups where there are tons of people there. But I made a lot of friends from here. And I would never turn down a chance to come here. Dave's a friend of mine. We're diehard.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is, he's just saying hi to his friends for the last minute or so, which, it's an NDE meeting, so I understand that. All right, let's go to the Q&A. Now, listen to the question that the very first person answers. All right. Let's get it up on your screen. Here we go. So this is the Q&A section. Oh, thank you, AA, for your kind $2 super chat. Thank you so much.
So you talk about how wonderful the next realm is.
How wonderful.
The beautiful colors, the great feelings, the love. Then why does anyone want to come back here? Why do you bless every day that you're here if it's really up there that's so wonderful?
I mean, really, talk about a dynamite question. The problem is the whole thing is part of the Matrix. They have it's a multi-level marketing scheme going on where you have Earth, Then you have the multiple sections of the astral contained there within, and they all link together.
So you talk about how wonderful the next realm is. The beautiful colors, the great feelings, the love. Then why does anyone want to come back here? Why do you bless every day that you're here if it's really up there? That's so wonderful.
I really wonder if she's had an NDE herself.
I knew this
Probably.
question would come out. I have children here and grandchildren. And I have an opportunity to, maybe it's too late to right some wrongs I've made, but I've actually gone to people and made amends.
Okay, maybe it's too late to, right my wrongs. That's the fear, guilt, shame, sinning, judgment, karma matrix that we all reside in.
And I have an opportunity to...
And they take advantage of that when you leave here. I mean, you could see right in his face, just by what he said, that he's wrestling with this to this very day.
I knew this question would come out.
Attachments, yeah, exactly.
I have children here and grandchildren. And I have an opportunity to, maybe it's too late to right some wrongs I've made, but I've actually gone to people and made amends, mended fences. Whether they like it or not, I feel like I've done the right thing.
Yeah, you're right,
I'm
Mary.
back. I have to accept it. And I can tell you, when I was hooked up to all these machines in intensive care, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do everything. It was horrible. But I kept going. And eventually I got better. And the rehab was horrible. But I did it. And that's the best I can answer that question. I have a purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things, it's very interesting that a lot of people, of course, want to stay, but it's almost like the other.
Isn't it kind of interesting? He's got backup. Excuse me. Let me turn on the camera for this one. Excuse me. Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap. We need backup right away.
I did it. And
Pass the mic over, please.
that's the
Pass
best
the
I can
mic
answer
over,
that question.
sir.
I have a purpose. Yeah, go
Robert,
ahead.
pass the mic over.
One of the things, it's very interesting that a lot of people, of course, want to stay, but it's almost like the other side is very often convincing them not to. And thoughts of love.
Convincing them, yes, and telling them, and they make a decision on their own to comply. What they do, this is so important to realize in NDEs. You listen time and time again. People say, "Oh, I was sent back against my will," and blah blah. Well, first off, there's a memory wipe in NDEs. Okay, that's like one of the biggest bombshell truths we know. Just like we're memory wiped when we get here, but it also exists in NDEs. So you have that. That's one. Number two, all they try to get you to do is align your intention somewhere else. That's why they throw out all sorts of things at you, like loved ones, or who a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, a best friend, someone you really, really connect with down on earth. And all they want you to do is direct your attention to them, to that moment. And that moment happens to be located where? On earth. Once they get that intention and you fall for it, you start, it tugs at the heartstrings, so to say. And then boom, you're back. we see it time and time again. I mean, this is one of those patterns that come up. So they're just trying to get you to consent indirectly. And, again, consent does not need to be achieved morally or ethically. That is so important to understand. There are no morals or and ethics involved with this, okay? All they need you to do is direct your intention there and feel something for it. You don't even necessarily have to feel for it. It's just like, it's like a reminder. Oh my God, I just came from there. Oh my God, my wife is having a child down there, and I need to get back there. And it's boom, back in your body. Boom. That's how it works. That's why not engaging with these things is so, so important. They are hijacking our consent, hijacking our intention. And they know that we are creator beings within, and that we have the power to create, power to basically teleport ourselves back to Earth, to our body, like that, with the snap of a finger. So that this is the type of thing we're dealing with. It's step by step, and they're going to roll out the red carpet for you, make you feel special, build you up, give you the love bomb, give you the life review, give you a little guilt, give you a little shame, give you happiness, give you love, and they're like, okay, well, you didn't do your job well enough. It's time to go back there, fool. We're no more fools. We're not fools. No more of that.
A lot of people, of course, want to stay, but it's almost like the other side is very often convincing them not to. And thoughts of love of someone left behind, children or ailing parents, girlfriend, whatever, tend to almost suck people back into life.
Oh, see, intentions suck you back into the body, because what are you doing? You're putting your intention there. You're a creator being. Your intention is to basically biolocate back to Earth, where your family, friends, whoever you're zoned in on, and make it so. And that's what happens. Again, I know that, we're a crowd that has morals and ethics and cares, has a heart. And this system capitalizes on all of that. All of that. So once you realize that that's what they're doing, they're powerless. They have nothing left. Again, all they have is deceptions, manipulation, everything. That's it. It's all games. All games.
Suck people, ailing parents, like the other side is very often convincing them not to. And thoughts of love of someone left behind, children or ailing parents, girlfriend, whatever, tend to almost suck people back into life. A lot of people argue they want to stay there, and they're told it's simply not their time. Others are given a choice. We don't know why.
But you specifically say every day you're thankful you're here.
I am.
Because?
It's a new day. And I put myself in a position, I live on the beach. I don't have any curtains. I wake up and I look out at the ocean, and I hear the sea lions, I hear the seabirds. That's where I want to be. And I'm missing that right now. But I think it's important that I talk to groups.
Okay.
So
Life is so terrible and so short. Think about it.
Life is so terrible and so short. Think about it.
So,
Life is so terrible and so short. Think about it.
I'm gonna ask you to come up and speak in here so he can record them.
Okay, I just want to say that just because we're all kind of in this together and as individuals, obviously, but you know, there's what, 86 of us here tonight talking about this. Just because things are what they are down here doesn't mean you don't have a right to be happy. Doesn't mean you don't have a right to live your life to the fullest. You know, learn this information, live your day to day with a sovereign and liberated intention that nothing is going to mess with you when you leave here. But the key importance is that you still allow yourself that happiness, that joy, that love, whatever the case may be, okay? I know some of you have children. I know some of you have, you know, we have parents, we have brothers, we have sisters, we have best friends, extended family. You got to enjoy the relationships that you have, okay? Even though, you know, I can be sarcastic, I can be funny and negative and stuff like that. It's just to throw a little levity into the situation. And I know I mentioned it earlier, but I really have to drive this point home so that everyone understands that even though, you know, we're all going through this, okay? We're all coming to this realization of what is. You can't let it control every moment, okay? And you have to wait for natural death. You can't go out risking anything with this. You want to maximize your how do I put this? You want to maximize your power, your drive. Offing yourself is not the answer at all. And, you know, I get messages once in a while from some of you out there. And, you know, my heart aches for you. It does. Okay. And because I understand how you can process this information, and it's difficult. It's a hard truth to come to and realize. Okay? But the key thing is you want to have the time available to fine-tune yourself for success, right? If you don't want to come back here, you want to make sure that you have as much time as necessary, as much time as your body will allow to do so. And I know I might get shit on that sometimes, but I don't care. It's all about us doing what we need to do for ourselves. And if you think making some sort of snap decision to leave here prematurely is the answer, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I say that and people drop like flies. It's okay. But I'm talking to the few out there who are wrestling with this, okay? I've seen the comments. You know, I get it. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a medical professional. And anyone who's ever feeling suicidal or knows someone who's in danger or an emergency or feeling suicidal, please, please, please call your country's local emergency services phone number. Like here in the US, it's 911. And, you know, whatever your country is, please call that. And also there are suicide hotlines available. Okay. sharing this information is I'm trying to get it out there, but it's difficult. It's difficult to balance the scales when sharing this type of stuff. Okay. And I want you to know out there that, there's a community behind you that cares about you, and we all kind of support each other directly and indirectly, and just hang in there. Okay. Just hang in there. Fine tune your plan. Make sure you know how you're going to do this once natural death occurs, because you need every minute and every second that you got. Okay, so that's kind of where I wanted to leave things with that. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, my question's kind of tied in with that.
Sure.
I just sort of retired, and it's funny when you stop working, because working keeps you so busy. Suddenly, you've got all this mental space to think, wow, I'm going to be old pretty soon, and there's not that much time left. So I've been trying to think, I've had friends say, you should make the most of this, you should make the most of this, but it sounds like you've mastered living, like you said, making the most of every day, and I would love it if you could share some tips you've learned about that. Does that mean you're more productive, or perhaps even less productive, or how does that show up for you?
I actually think I was more productive before. I was a type A personality, and I could multitask. I mean, you run a city, for example, or maybe you're a watch commander like I was. You just, you're used to all these different things that are thrown at you. Right now, I walk on the beach every day. And my phone rings off the hook. This iron stuff it does keep me busy. I write grants. I have a good set of friends, a great network. Most of them I've changed since I became a near-death experiencer. A lot of the people I knew before I died, I can't talk to them about these things. And I don't. They'll see me on a television show and say, you didn't tell us. I didn't want to tell them. I wanted to still have a relationship with them. It's hard sometimes for people to accept a person that's gone through maybe what some of us have all gone through here, a near-death experience or an STE or whatever. But you can choose to make the best of it, or you can be miserable. I choose to make the best of it. I'm grateful you're all here tonight. Some of you, I know I'm going to hear from you because that's happened before. If I can be of assistance to you, I will. And if I can't, maybe I could help you find some way to connect with somebody that could. Or maybe you just need to talk to somebody. I'm not a psychiatrist,
Neither am I.
I'm just an average white man. That's it. But
Questions?
Frank, yeah, you have to come up here. I would like it to be recorded. So
I'm just curious how one can actually join IONS.
okay, go ahead and ask me.
Yeah, I'm just curious about how one would go about actually joining the IONS organization.
All you have to do is to get on the internet, the IANDS, IANDS website. You can click right on there, and it has all the events, all the people that are involved, library type information, upcoming events. It's all there. So, who else has a question? Whoever wants to. We're going to stay till your questions are answered.
You said how you were totally different from how you were before, and I'm curious about what changes have been, since then. And one specific thing I'm curious about is like any prejudices or biases that you had before that you don't have now, that kind of thing.
That's a question that I can answer this way, because I think I started to evolve before I had my NDE. When I was a policeman, I had a friend who owned a liquor store in Santa Cruz. And on my days off, I would work the liquor store. I'm a type of person that keeps busy all the time, especially when I was younger. And it gave me something to do. And it ended up being one of the best things I've ever done, because when you're a policeman, you get a negative connotation towards people. You become calloused. I'm going to give you an example. A guy came in that probably was a construction worker or a logger. And my family, we had a construction company. So to me, they're good people. Some of the best people I've known have been in that line of work. But this guy came in and he was all dirty and filthy, and everybody just kind of backed away from him as he got up to the counter. And I looked at him and I thought, he's making a mess of the counter because he had the mud and all this stuff on him. And he had a 6-pack of beer. We exchanged the money. I gave it to him, put it in a bag, gave it to him, and he stopped. And I thought, he goes, "You gave me back too much change." And all of a sudden I realized I had formulated an opinion of him that I did not want to. That actually was one of the best life lessons working that job. Where people would come in the liquor store to have their tickets signed off, because there were 4 of us that worked there, 4 policemen that worked there part-time, and the owner didn't care as long as he knew he wouldn't get held up. So, and it was fun because Christmas I would put a Santa Claus costume on, and I'd work behind the counter as Santa Claus, and it gave me a whole different perspective on life. And so I started to evolve before that. And right now,
you hear Robert's story, and it hits home, right? Seems like a good guy from the surface, from everything that we see. We don't know him, but at the same time, if everything is the way it is, then, tip my hat to Robert. But, Robert's been through some shit. And, is part of the Matrix. That's the hard truth. It's difficult for me to say something like this, because I don't want Robert to see this, or anyone that I do a commentary on who shares an NDE, to take it the wrong way. But you have to be brutally honest with what we're dealing with. You can't be mad at Robert. You can't be mad at any of the NDEers that we talk about, my friends. You can't. They're pawns in the game, just like we were pawns in the game before we woke up. All right? Before we, and remember, there's stages of waking up. You know, like everyone thinks, oh, you know, I figured out the Illuminati. I got it all figured out. No, that is like the basic of the basics of this system. That's like the bottom feeders of the control structure. The control structure we don't know about exists. And, you know, Robert is doing his thing. He's going about his life and doesn't realize what's going on. So don't shit on him and don't shit on the others, okay? It's just, you know, we have some fun, we have some laughs, we're sarcastic, but at the end of the day, these are true spirits, true souls out there that we have to have a heart. We have to have compassion. We have to have empathy for. And hope that they see it in this lifetime. What's going on? It's a high chance that they won't, but we still got to hope, right? Or at least in the very close incarnations that are coming.
Right now, I wouldn't say I'm as happy as I've ever been, because it would be nice to have a relationship. And I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you in this room have sleep issues? Raise your hand.
I'll raise my hand.
NDEers have sleep issues.
What does issues mean?
If I go to bed before midnight, it's a miracle.
Oh, really?
And if I don't wake up around 2 o'clock and I'm up for a couple hours, it's the norm. And I go back, and I know so many people that are NDEers that have that problem. And Yvonne Cason, I keep bringing her name up, she kind of has done studies on that, and that's one thing that seems to go along with the NDEers or the STEers is sleep issues. And I just learned to live with them.
Okay. Second question.
Okay.
Did you notice in your near-death experience whether or not you had any reincarnations or any people in your current lifetime that you may have associated with a past soul group?
Yes. And I can tell you, I grew up in an Irish Catholic household. My mom was Catholic. I didn't want to think like that, but yeah, I do now. Good question. I'm going to give you another thing that I believe in. My near-death experience. I saw myself lay in a flare pattern at an accident scene on the Coast Highway in Santa Cruz. And I saw a big rig coming, and I put the flare pattern down, and I did not know that the trailer was not lighted. The truck goes by, I start to step forward. Something prevented me from going any further. That's all I'm going to say. It was eye-opening. I still have, that's just one example. Think about your sixth sense. And probably less than a year ago, I was on the Coast Highway driving from Florence, Oregon to Newport, Oregon. And I was about ready to come into a curb, and I thought to myself, I got to pull over. I pulled over, and here comes a logging truck on the wrong side of the road. Whoa. Listen to your sixth sense. I listen to my gut feelings now. And I don't know, I think everybody here can probably relate to that, where you kind of suspect something's going to happen and you're not sure. Go with your gut instinct.
100%. 100%. can't be stated enough. Always go with your gut. You have to. It won't do you wrong. Like, you may not get the result that's intended every time, but more often than not, you are going to protect your own ass if you do that. Swear by it. Whatever that inner monologue is that's going on inside of you, call it your gut, whatever, inner voice, just listen.
It's important.
It is important.
Questions? Anybody else? Are you all done? Here comes one.
What was it about George Harrison you were trying to tell us? And then also, did you learn anything about the meaning of life from your near-death experience?
Two questions. The George Harrison situation was a YouTube video that I saw. It's the last interview of George Harrison, or George Harrison's last interview, something like that. He's got Rabbi Shankar with him during the interview, so they'll tell you, they'll key you to it. For me, I've watched it several times. I even watched it last night. I watch it a lot. I always watch the first 5 or 6 minutes. That's all I need to see. It reinforces something in me. And there's another spiritual thing that
Okay, and just to, drive this home, I know, we're all at different areas in our research and things like that, but the Beatles were 100 and zillion% psychological operation. Okay? The entire thing was fabricated from the ground up. And I'm not even going to get into details about each of the members and all that stuff. That's something everyone has to look into. If you want a glimpse as to what's going on, check out the memoirs of Billy Shears. Check it out. But it's incredible. And how they shaped and molded society to fall for them, to fawn over them, to do this. They were just one moment in time. See, what the way this reality works, at least in its more modern era, is they do things in decade-long chunks, okay? So you have different eras of music that come out in decade stretches, okay? And then they roll out the new music. And then they do another decade. And then they roll out the new music. That's how it rolls. Or that's how they roll. That's how it rolls. So you get the point that even though something may resonate, like when I was kind of in my Buddhist phase, I was like, oh my God, George Harrison, he's saying a lot of good stuff, blah, 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 blah. Hinduism, blah, 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 blah. Well, you come to learn that, the Beatles were a made-for-TV operation. And that's the bottom line. Just like all of the other weird stuff that we may run across in our journey, it's no different. No different. So, that's where the whole, soul trap thing kind of veers off into another area and kind of comes with your life experience, okay? You go through, I grew up at a very young age loving the Beatles. I still like the Beatles, okay? I'll still throw them on from time to time. But do they connect with me the way they did before I kind of knew what the hell was up? No. And I'm aware of that, and that's fine. But I could still appreciate the music, okay? Regardless of whoever the hell made it, wherever it came from, I could still enjoy it. you know, again, that kind of goes to the point we were talking about earlier, where you have to enjoy life. You have to try and make the best of it while you're here, and work up your life experience so that you have the maximum amount of success possible. Okay? That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
I always watch the first 5 or 6 minutes. That's all I need to see. It reinforces something in me. And there's another spiritual...
I mean, think about the words he uses. It reinforces something within me. It reinforces something. That's an outside influence giving him confirmation, giving him that nudge in the moment that he needs. Oh, I watched the video multiple times. I watch it I watch it regularly. Well, Robert watches it regularly to make himself feel better. And we get it. But if you think about it, you know what I'm saying.
I always watch the first 5 or 6 minutes. That's all I need to see. It reinforces something in me. And there's another spiritual thing that I'm going through right now that I'm not going to delve into or whatever, but it's been something that's evolved, that I've evolved in. What was your second question?
Meaning of life.
Life blessed.
Was anything imparted to you in your NDE about the meaning of life?
I am actually, the meaning of life to me is something that I do believe we're here for purpose or for a reason. And I'm here talking to you for a reason. So somebody here needs to hear what I'm saying, I think, probably. And in a way, I need to hear what you say too. Gets me thinking about things. But spiritually, the meaning of life is something that's still evolving in me, and it's happened as a result of these talks and some of the places, some of the venues where I've talked. That's all I'm going to say about it, but it's kind of exciting. It puts you at peace.
Okay. All right. So we're over the 2-hour mark, and I've got to refill my water. So there isn't too much to go. I think we've got another 15 minutes in this video, and then we'll get to the questions that Jimmy's been compiling. Thank you very much, Jimmy Spirit, for your help today. And just to let you guys know, there are some YouTube backup channels that are out there just in case something ever happens here. An ODYSEE, a DLIVE, Instagram, Twitter, and I think I'm missing something else, but just check the description tab for those links. Maybe we can hook up on those platforms. And just so you guys know, there is an announcement coming fairly soon, I would say within the next month, about a website that'll be linked to the channel. And I'll be doing things over there as well to try and centralize things, because I'm at the mercy of here, of this place. And I'd like to have an alternative just in case something ever happens. So if you want to be added to the mailing list of the website for when it goes live, or to keep up to date on any announcements regarding it, please shoot me an email, foreverconsciousresearch@gmail.com. That's foreverconsciousresearch@gmail.com. All I ask is that you please in the topic or the subject of the email, put email list, and then I'll set your email aside and add you to the list. So when things start rolling, you'll start to get emails. And, I'm not the type of guy who's going to bombard you or anything like that, but, just something to keep in mind. So we'll take a 5-minute break and I will see you again very shortly. Thank you again so much for hanging in there, and I'll see you in a moment. Thank you.
Somebody else had a, okay. I think you had one in the back too, didn't you? Yeah.
I was here the last time you spoke, and I think at that talk, which was one of your first talks, you emphasized much more how much you had changed since the NDE because of what you learned from your NDE.
Yes.
I think it would benefit the folks here to hear more about the specifics of what it is that you learned from going through your life review. You've touched upon that a few times, but even your children have said that they like you better now.
They do.
So what is it, what did you see in your life review that made you pause and reconsider your life and to come back and to redo your life with a new perspective?
I think I might have covered a little bit of this. My perspective on life itself is not the same that it used to be. It's so precious. When you see the effect you have on people in your life review, how they think about you, what they would really like to tell you, how you present yourself, it's a real eye-opener. And
It's a real eye-opener because they have everything. Okay, they have your past lives, they have your current life. I saw earlier in the chat, I believe, and this is important to bring up. Trying to find it. Really, really important. I think Anne and someone else. Okay. In short, what I remember was, everything being recorded, which I've talked about before. And when I say everything is recorded, I mean every single waking moment. It has nothing to do with the fact that there are so many cameras around. I mean, I can go off on what I feel about that, but that's a totally different topic altogether that I feel links into the metaverse stuff. But, that's, again, that's way, way off track if we dive into that. And I actually I'm going to do a separate video on that down the road, and how the metaverse thing basically is something that it was planned well over a decade ago, if not multiple decades ago. Okay. But let's just cast that aside. Okay. Every moment of every day is recorded. They have some sort of access to your spirit, your soul, your consciousness, however you want to wrap it all together. And they can throw that back on us. Okay. They can project that onto us, and in turn, it provides a result that they want, which could be usually in conjunction with something like the love bomb, something like fear, shame, guilt, love, anger, all these different types of, they're like frequencies, okay? But they're frequencies that you're familiar with. All right, so what they do is kind of drug you up. It's kind of like the astral roofies or astral GHB, whatever it's called. And they kind of get you all flustered and on board. And in turn, they say, okay, let's just analyze Miss Ellie. Let's analyze Jimmy. Let's analyze Deanna. Let's analyze Anne. And know every moment of every day that they've lived. And let's scan through all of those and pick out distinct moments that they may feel like a loving happy feeling about, like an elevated feeling about, or let's show them those guilt, fear, shame matrix components, the karma, the sinning, and throw it back on them. That's how this whole thing functions. But if you don't allow yourself to even go into that realm where those things are capable, you'll be all right. You'll be fine. So again, like I try to say, like, you know, even though this information is inherently negative, inherently shitty, there's so much positive that comes out of it. So much positive. And we've really, really got to stay the course on that. So we can get angry, we can get all pissed off and laugh and be sarcastic and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, learning this information is so freaking helpful because you realize that all they have are smoke and mirrors. That's it. It's just deny it. It's not allowed to enter you whatsoever. Are you following what's going on in with the Ukraine thing or the Russia thing? I have no clue what is going on there. No clue. Back in the day, I would look up this, I would look up that, I would, you know, try and decode that and decode this. It's just not necessary anymore, my friends. The key thing is that we're working on ourselves. Working on our sovereign intention. Working on liberation. That's our path. Or at least that's my path. I don't ever like to force feed things or make people think that I'm trying to direct them in a certain way. But in a way, I admittedly am. I'm trying to say, hey, you know, if I'm guilty of trying to preach sovereignty and liberation, then so be it. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, like, oh, you're sovereign and liberated, then, or you're, you know, working on being sovereign and liberated. So I'm trying to lure you in. No. Do your own thing. Remember, nobody needs my channel. That's the one thing I always say all the time, too. Like, nobody needs my channel. You don't have to watch any of this. All you kind of need is just the basic blueprint, and then you can go out and do your own research and prove it to yourself. So, you know, I get how my style may be a little abrasive, a little strong, sarcastic. Maybe the comedic effect isn't for everyone, but, you know, it's all good. I don't have access to any special information. How many truthers do you listen to? How many spiritual people do you listen to? They have access to special information. Oh, I'm channeling Ra, and I'm channeling this one, and I'm getting secret information from former CIA agents. I mean, how many times have we heard this crap? Nothing that I share here is secret. It's all public information. It's just a matter of kind of breaking it down, decoding it, listening to what they're saying, not buying into the love and light narrative or whatever the narrative is that you feel you need to be accountable for, and doing your own thing. Okay? So, all right, let's go.
And it almost goes back to, do you want to be treated yourself the same way you've treated somebody else? The ones I had probably the most difficulty dealing with, I mentioned, were betrayal. A couple had to do with betrayal on the job. People that you thought were your friends or your colleagues, they really weren't. A lot of them wanted to advance or go over you or whatever, and it was just almost like jealousy. And I've learned to let all that go. Anything that happens to me now, from my life review, I think, what good does it do? what good does worry do? As long as the sun goes down in the evening and it rises in the morning, you got a new day. So you got to make the most of it. Yeah, you have to deal with issues, but I just find myself being better able to cope with things. I just don't let things bother me like they did.
You hear that? I mean, that's great advice. Don't let things bother you like they used to. Once you figure out this whole place is just smoke and mirrors, laugh at it. Like, a great example of, for me, was Trump. I think Trump is a clown. But he's a funny clown, okay? Once you kind of realize, like, okay, oh, he's just like this puppet, you know, and he works for the system, laugh at him. He's funny as hell. He's a stand-up comedian. Think about it. He is whatever he is he's sitting in front of the U.S. presidential seal as president. I mean, how funny is that? It's hilarious because he makes you laugh. Now, some people are like, oh, well, Trump is this, Trump is that. Who cares? Well, you know, Obama, Biden, Bush was a clown. I mean, they're all clowns. They're all clowns. Doesn't matter who it is. But you just kind of learn to laugh at the Matrix, at how pathetic it is. How pathetic is the Matrix? It's so desperately trying to just pull you in, grasp at you, and make you believe it's authentic. Make you believe it's real. Make you believe that something is on your side. When anything could be further from the truth. So don't let it get to you. Don't let the whole Ukraine-Russia thing get to you. Just do you. Be you. And live your life and just live within. Remember, everything is perception-based. So since everything is perception-based, if you choose not to consume the war in Ukraine or Russia or the US or any of this stuff, or pick a topic, okay? Doesn't matter what it is. I'm just throwing out some examples for the hell of it. You pick whatever it is. And it has no power over you. Because guess what? Your perception is based, like in this room right now. All I have is this, okay? This is my perception. Wherever I choose to point my eyes and move myself, that's my perception. But once I click the mouse, turn on the phone, and go to a certain webpage, you pick it, any of the media outlets, YouTube, whatever it is, here, you know, you're choosing to allow your perception to be influenced in whatever you're consuming, whatever's on the screen, right? So all you have to do is eliminate that, cut it out. Whatever is going to happen out there is going to happen. Don't let yourself be influenced by outside things that you have no control of. Outside things that if you didn't consume, you'd have no clue it was happening. See what I'm saying? And I know I lose people with stuff like that sometimes, but I hope I'm helping more than hurting. At least I hope.
Like they did. And I've eliminated a lot of things just this last week. I mean, I have accumulated things my whole life, mostly classic cars. I have a problem with that. But I've gotten rid of a 65 Plymouth, which I got in high school.
Yes, I know.
That red one. I got rid of my 66 Ford Galaxy 500 convertible that I've had all these years.
Congratulations. Oh, really?
Couple of trucks. I had a ranch. I got rid of all my ranch equipment. some of the stuff I just gave away to people that couldn't afford it. There was a rancher that, actually a young couple that had like a couple of steers, and I was talking to them, and they were talking about, we got to go find a water trough and we can't afford it. So I said, I got a couple water troughs. I gave them the water troughs. What good does it do to keep all that stuff? And I mean, I've got stuff like you wouldn't believe. I've collected it my whole, and when I traveled internationally, I would buy stuff, like maybe I was in Barbados or maybe I was somewhere else, ship it home, UPS, it's still in the boxes. I've never opened them.
That's double A for sure.
That's me. And so that's what I've learned. I've learned to just let go. And I've learned to be considerate of other people to the point where I worry about it. I really can't spend the whole night talking about this, but I'm hoping you get the gist of it. And I hope what I said may be something that may benefit you at some point or time. That was a great question, though. Thank you.
I was just wondering about the sense of the divinity that you saw when you were in your near-death experience. There is a sense of the powers above, the power that bees, and what you felt about that. Just elaborate a little more about being when you were in that state. Yeah.
It still bothers me. It bothers me to the point where I think about it sometimes. I obsess about it. Part of me wishes I had looked, but I couldn't. It was very humbling. And I wasn't prepared. I don't know if you can be prepared for what you see. And one of the things that bothers me is I may have to go through this again.
See, these are the moments that we look out for. What bothers me is I may have to go through this again. Robert, you don't have to go through this again, my friend. If you ever run across this, you don't deserve this. Nobody deserves to go through this and then buy into some phony structure that tries to pawn it off as if we're here for our spiritual development. Really?
For what you see. And one of the things that bothers me is
one of the things that bothers me.
I may have to go through this again.
I may have to go through this again. Nuh-uh. No. This is where we all have to come to an agreement that we are true spirit essence. We are creator beings with the power of intention. And we can choose to engage with this whole thing or not when we leave here at the time of natural death. But if you choose to roll the dice, deal with the memory wipe all over again, come here, remember, we come here not knowing where we came from, why we are here, or where the hell we are going, and we just give blind trust to this system, to this thing that we know absolutely nothing about, that has the power to mind wipe us. Think about how insane that is. Do you just go up to some random person on the street and just trust them blindly? What if a person on the street, seriously, think about it. What if a person on the street just said, hey, let me just pick a name out of the chat. Hey, Michael, let me just zap your brain right now. And you're not going to remember anything I said. But then, 60, 70, 80 years from now, I'm going to come up to you and say, hey, I'm God. Hey, I'm Jesus. Hey, I'm this. Hey, I'm your mother. Hey, I'm your father. Hey, I'm your brother. Hey, I'm your sister. You pick it. Are you going to trust it just because it is representing itself like that. I mean, you could see how the family hooks, the attachments that we have, kind of really drive this whole thing home and is completely diabolical. But the religious things, oh, you're God, oh, you're Jesus, oh, you're this. I mean, there's multiple levels to all of this. And all you got to do is stand firm in your resolve. That's it. That's it. You're just not going to allow yourself to interact with these things. I mean, and for those on the fence, think about it. What do you have to lose? If they're the real deal, right? I mean, again, for those out there who are kind of on the fence with all the soul trap stuff, what do you have to lose by just kind of standing your ground and just seeing what happens? That's at a bare minimum. Do I suggest that? No, I think everyone should get their ass out of here as quickly as possible. But, you know, if you're not really fully convinced, then, you know, give yourself the opportunity, I guess, to stick around. I don't suggest it at all. I think the quicker we realize that we have left our bodies, the better. And make appropriate plans while we're here.
I don't know if you start from the time you first died and you get to go from that, or if you just got, I don't know. But I think the last 10 years, I've been a total different person. So I feel good about that. But I don't know how else to answer that. It's humbling. I thought I saw another hand go up.
Robert, as the Vice President of IONS, I have to ask you, why do you believe there is so much conditional resistance to people exploring near-death experiences? And why is there such an increase with the allure to atheism?
Because the Matrix sets it up that way. I'll answer that one.
From your viewpoint.
Resistance to ions.
It's the same thing. Many of us have talked about, why are there not more people here? This is really healthy information. There's no dogma here. You feel good coming here. And there's more people go to church. And I don't think religion doesn't want this information out, science doesn't want this information out. So how do you get beyond that to get this good information out that can be very comforting and healthy for people to hear?
I'm going to give you an example that I think might be an eye-opener, because I've seen some changes myself. When I was on that show, I Survived Beyond and Back, I didn't actually know it had aired when it did. Two things happened. I was driving on my way to Phoenix to drop off a car for my son. Went down the I-5 corridor, and I pulled in a truck stop to get gas. And I had to use the restroom too, so I got the gas and I went into the restroom, and I walked by this room that had a whole bunch of guys in it. They looked like truck drivers. And when I walked by, I saw some people look at me, and I went into the restroom, and I'm at a urinal. And a guy comes up to me and he goes, "You're the guy that was on this TV show." And I thought, here I am, talk about being vulnerable. And I said, "Well, that's the rumor." And he goes, "Well, a bunch of us are here. We saw you walk by. Could you stop by and talk to us?" I didn't know that show had aired. I didn't know it. So I walked into this place, and there's all these truck drivers. They watched cable TV. It was like all they wanted to do was talk about seeing my dog and all the other stuff like that. So I took some time, probably spent a half an hour with them. And then I thought, boy, that show, I can't believe that happened. Well, I went to Los Angeles, and there was one In-N-Out burger place I used to go to all the time when I was working down there. And I thought, oh, that sounds so good, because in Oregon we didn't have them. And so I'm going by there, and I thought, I'm going to go in there. So I know my cardiologist would kill me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I go into this In-N-Out burger. It's right off Interstate 10. And I saw a couple of police cars there. That wasn't unusual. We all ate there. I go in. I'm standing in line. And this nice female officer came up to me, and she goes, "You're the patrolman that's on the TV show." This is the same day.
No way.
Yes.
Whoa.
And I said, "Yeah, I guess." I said, "It must have aired." And she goes, "Yeah, she said, "Would you like to join us?"
Oh, wow.
So I said, "Sure." So I got my order, sat down and talked to them. And I think how NDEs are starting to come forward, probably because of cable television, groups like this, people that have experienced and come back to life. And let's face it, the medical technology is probably going to help increase more people to come back and talk about these things. I'm an example of it. I think it's just starting to build. And IONS is getting interest from Iran, China, places all over. People are starting, because these television shows have been syndicated worldwide, like the one I was on. And people are, they're on the internet, they're starting to research and look for things. And I think probably that has a big bearing on what is happening. And for the truck drivers, for example, they're on the road.
Yeah.
So Sunday they all get together and they were talking about this. So I don't know if that answered your question. That's the best I can answer it. As far as the atheist, I don't know what to say about that. I was in front of a higher power. I was. That's all I need to say. I can't say anything other than that. It's up to people whether they want to believe or not. We all have our ability to believe what we want to believe and what we don't want to believe. But I know what I experienced, so it's best I can answer it.
All right, so we've got about, I think it's
Folks,
pretty much over.
Run out of time.
All right, so that was, wow, just a huge testimonial of his experiences, not only with the near-death experience, but throughout life. I mean, huge moments were shared. There's some questions. I want to thank Jimmy again, as always, for helping with sending over the questions tonight. Thank you so much, brother. Very much appreciated. So, I'm going to go back to the questions that were early in the chat, but let's see. Looks like Miles says, let's see. When did you become so convinced of this theory? Seems like you're no longer a student contemplating, but you're proselytizing. Okay. I just, as I've said many times, I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm trying to help people see it, but again, this channel should only act as a stepping stone. So, you know, nobody needs my channel. You can go out, do your own research, and figure this out on your own. I am thoroughly convinced. I don't need any more convincing. Now, could some little small things be wrong? Yeah, sure. Maybe some very, very minute things that have come along my path that I've talked about. But as far, I mean, we're living proof of it. Just the human body alone is living proof of that we're batteries. You know, we sleep at night, we recharge our batteries, okay? We work during the week, and then we reach the weekend where we're weakened. You've reached a point where you're weakened and have to recharge, okay? And then you work for something called currency, energy, okay? All the etymology, everything points to this. And that's just like the very base level of, you know, besides the experiences, okay? So regardless of what anyone thinks, you know, everyone has to go out and do their own research. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm trying to spread awareness, that's for sure. But as far as this maybe being a religion or anything like that, no, it's just like, hey, I see this reality for what it is, and I'm calling it out. If the reality was all love and light and that the body was this perfection mechanism, then I would say that. You know, it is what it is. It also, you know, you have life experience that comes with this too. You have all these other subtopics. You have near-death experiences. You have past life regressions. You have breakthrough trip reports. You have life between lives. You have near deathbed premonitions, visions, and visitations. And I know I'm missing one or two there. The point is they all kind of link together and paint this picture of some sort of control structure. I mean, are we supposed to just worship this place? We can't worship this place. I mean, are we just supposed to have blind trust? I mean, should we not believe that there's this mechanism in place that's trying to, you know, at least talk to us and communicate with us at the time of death? And should we just blindly trust it? I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, at a bare bones minimum, no matter what you think about what's being presented on the channel here, and through Wayne and Dan, it doesn't matter. All we're just saying is just question things when you're moving over. Why just blindly submit to something you know nothing about? I know nothing about it. Most people know nothing about it. They think they know. And why do they think they know it? Because they came across information while here. So instead of kind of weaving your way in and out of hearing people who have actually crossed the other side, dealt with something, I'm just going to blindly trust, I'm just going to blindly trust this reality that constantly lies to me. I'm going to blindly trust this religious book that constantly lied to me and has pedo charges all the time. Or whatever the case may be. You pick the topic. I mean, are we supposed to just blindly trust everything? No, we have to stand up for ourselves, my friend. That's all. Miles, I'm talking about it right now. Talking about it right now, my friend. I'm addressing your question. And you asked if I was able to astral project. Yeah, I astral projected years ago, but it's just lately I've been having trouble, and I've gone out of my body recently, but I didn't really launch fully out, but I've had enough sessions to realize that I'm more than my physical body. And that's what's proved to me that that we transcend this physical experience, you know? So that was a big one. And I know you said even Wayne talks as a student with uncertainty. Okay, well, that's Wayne. I'm me and Wayne is Wayne, you know? I feel confident in what I'm sharing. I feel confident in knowing that something is very wrong here. I mean, so much points to it, you know? And Wayne and I kind of both have our different approaches. I respect him, he respects me, and we just do our thing. Kind of like I respect Dan, Dan respects me, and we just do our thing. But again, like just my interpretations are not necessary. I'm just looking to spread awareness. That's really the big thing with me. You know, Miles, it's all about us trying to spread awareness about what is going on here. Okay. So when was it? Well, I mean, I started questioning reality at a very young age. Like, when did I have this crossover? Like, to a firm inner knowing? It was 2016, between 2016 and 2018 were my really, really formative years. Those were my really, really big years. And I've talked about this on the channel before. Like, I knew about the soul trap long before that and realized that, you know, maybe I need to look at NDEs at a different way, because I was buying NDEs at face value, Miles. And not, you know, like, oh, look, they're all love and light, or there's, you know, these hell-like NDEs, and, you know, maybe they have something to do with this and that, and going through all the books. But, you know, that was way before then. And I was just kind of taking things at face value. When I really started questioning things was 2016 to 2018, and really putting the soul trap to the test and reconfiguring my whole thought on what's going on, instead of just saying, oh, well, you know, the Saturn moon matrix or this or that. It was just kind of more about reevaluating everything that I listened to and seeing, okay, like, what are they saying here? What are they saying there? Kind of like how we broke down Robert's NDE and many of the other NDEs. So to make it just easier, and kind of find those moments where that truth was coming out, where we can easily identify control, you know, blind trust, just allowing oneself to submit to something they basically have no memory of. They feel they know it. They feel connected. Oh, like, you know, you know, that's God, or that's Jesus, or that's my, you know, I felt like I knew them, you know, all these souls or spirits, whatever you want to call them. But yet they're banking on that. They're just relying on that. And that's where kind of like the logical mind comes into play for me, to question things. It's like, you know, no matter what people think, just question yourself. Just question what's going on and assert yourself so that you don't fall into it. So even though, you know, Wayne, Dan, and I have little differences here and there, you know, and I may feel more confident about certain things than them at times. You know, we all have our views on this, because my opinion is the more people that know about this, the better. The more people questioning this, the better. The more people researching this on their own, the better. Because other than that, it's just blind trust. So we just need to look at it from that perspective, or at least that's how I look at it. I shouldn't say we, but that's how I look at it. So I hope that kind of helped, Miles. Okay. Okay. Let me scroll up here. All right. Mary Party of One says, I'm working on my escape plan, but if for whatever reason I can't get there before Caught in the Light, do you think we can still be adamant and say no, 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 and be let go? I do think it can be possible, Mary, but I think it's difficult to do that because they have the tools of like the love bomb, your family, your friends, or whatever whatever they feel they need to throw at you, your pets. So kind of being in there is not in anyone's best interest because they kind of get the upper hand there. But yes, I do feel that if someone can realize their true power and make it to that point, they'll be okay. But I'm going to be completely upfront. It seems that with some information that we receive, that the memories of what you had on Earth start to fade. So that's kind of like the memory wipe to me. It's like they start to fade and fade and fade and fade. But make no doubt about it, Mary. You're going to be fine. Everyone's going to be just fine. It's just a matter of setting that intention on a day-to-day basis and making sure that, you're just not allowed to be interrupted with. That's how I live my life. I live it day to day saying, I'm a sovereign creator being that is not allowed to be interfered with, not audibly, telepathically, visually, nothing. And I just to be completely upfront, it's treated me well while I'm here as well. So it's going to treat me well when I leave here too. And I know it'll treat everybody else well. It's just stand firm in your resolve. Your intention is everything. They hope to get your intention and maneuver it towards some other direction. Okay? Towards something else, like a deceased family member who's there to welcome you at the pearly gates or whatever the case may be. Jesus, God, Buddha, Muhammad, etc. You have the control. So take the control now, Mary, because that's what it's all about, my friend. Take the control now while it matters. Red says, maybe they don't look because it's like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. Yeah, we were talking about earlier in the NDE how... I'm sorry. Robert couldn't look at the entity, the divine entity. Yeah. They don't want to be exposed. It's weird because some people see, fully visual entities and can relate to it and get like a facial structure full on, but then there's others who, they can't look, they feel they're blinded and this and that. And what's funny is like with a lot of the NDEs, they'll say like, oh, the light was, like 10,000 suns or 1,000 suns, like stronger than the sun. But yet they'll always say, but I can look at it. So, it's a different type of experience they're having, but there's some sort of frequency generating thing going on that gets them to feel it's stronger than the sun. and brighter than the sun, and perhaps they may or may not be able to look at it. Most people are fine with looking at it, but there are some that are not, so it can be a mixed bag there. Okay. Ann says, no wonder we have video cameras everywhere we can't. I'm sorry. No wonder we have video cameras everywhere we come and go. They're recording everywhere we go and everything we do. Then they use it against us in death during the life review. Yep. And kind of like what I alluded to earlier, Ann, was that, you know, I would say long before cameras existed, it's just like they're essentially downloading our information while we're here, and probably have it, you know, saved or in some sort of spirit bubble that can identify that it's us. I mean, if the whole thing is code, you know, we're probably attached with some sort of number, and as our soul spirit cross over, it can identify that number sequence and know that, okay, yes, hi, I'm the Matrix, I'm dealing with Ann Pearson, POW, and, you know, have everything ready and roaring to go about your life review and present it to you in the normal fashion that it does. Red-tailed Spirit says, Ann, I've wondered how they've captured everything about us. My ideas are intestinal parasites, our pets, and tech. Yeah, I think all of that can be part of it. I mean, all we really got to think about is this: well, not if. I mean, there's clearly a life script. There's clearly an agreement that comes with residing here. So, since we know that that's the case, then, you know, if there's a, well, we know not if, there is a memory wipe. So considering the memory wipe exists, then all it's got to do is give you this agreement to be recorded the whole time. You know, I mean, think about it. Like, our true spirit essence is contained somewhere. We have we're battling two things. We have a soul and a spirit, and they're kind of contained within our brain or right outside of here, and they help kind of keep the day-to-day of our life going, either positively, negatively, and in between. So I think what they do is they have part of our real true spirit and part of our soul script, so to say, mic just fell, kind of quarantined in the ether, okay? And they're able to just kind of extract that when they need to, and it just like runs on a program. I think the whole afterlife, the afterlife thing runs on a program. That, because everything seems just so automatic. I mean, why would those who have breakthrough psychedelic experiences have something like an NDE? Why would they see the light and experience the love bomb and all that? I mean, maybe because it reaches a certain threshold of the human experience in conjunction with, obviously, the drugs, and it kind of reaches a boiling point where the Matrix says, okay, we need to provide something like a near-death experience type of experience to this person going through this at this moment. And it just runs automatically. It's like boom, 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 ready to go. So that's kind of how I look at everything here. It just seems like there's just programs everywhere. Then, I mean, we could just think about astrology. We all looked up our astrology at some point, right? And it's scarily accurate. Ridiculous how accurate it can be at times. Well, why is it accurate? Because you align in a certain way based on your birthday. It aligns a certain way for my birthday and everybody else's birthday. And location and time of birth. All that just is perfectly set up. And you're capable of getting that type of information because you live in a matrix. It's all based on information and the zodiac. So we see all sorts of weird synchronicities and deja vu, and then we can go into deep meditative trance and past life regressions, and then we could take psychedelics and have all these types of almost mechanical experiences or mechanical results. Now, is every experience going to be exactly the same? No, but they're going to have similar traits because it's a program. Everything kind of runs on this program. So I hope that kind of explains it a little bit. Shout out to AA. Oh, sorry, AA. Thank you for your $2 super chat earlier. I think I already mentioned that, but thank you again. Very much appreciated. Mary says, I've been S for 20 years, but this info changed my mindset big time. I need to stay and plan and prep the exit strategy, not even taking a chance. Yep, that's what it's all about. Do what you got to do and enjoy yourself while you're here. Try and enjoy yourself as best you can. Remember, this is the last hurrah, too. We may have been here before, but it's the last hurrah. And so try and enjoy it as best you can. There's so many fun and interesting things here, too. We can't forget that. I mean, nature is a big part of that for me. Huge part of it. I get out, I walk on the trail a few times a week, and it's a very healing experience. I get energized. My breathing is better. Everything is better. If I get out on that trail, I feel better. And I mean, for me, like I try to get out there, hour, 2 hours at a time, and it really works wonders. I'm gonna go camping next week for 3-4 nights, and that recharges you too. It just gives you this boost that sitting inside can't do, or dwelling on things can't do. And no matter how difficult it is, my friends, still try to make the best of it. Try to make the best of it. I know the instinct is to fight it and this and that, but remember, you got people here that love you, you got family that loves you, you got pets that love you, and you've got still good things here. Remember, you're in a duality too. So if you're in a duality, yeah, there's the yin and the yang. So enjoy where you should be enjoying. Don't get too hung up on the negative. And I'll admit, it's sometimes difficult for me. I'm not gonna, act like some person that knows it all, but I'll just say that there's little things that help me, and they've proven to help me year and year and year again. So make of it what you will. Okay. Let's see. All right, I think that's going to be it tonight, my friends. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, as always. And I look forward to seeing you again probably this weekend. Probably do something Saturday, either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday. I'm not really sure what we're going to do yet, but thank you so much. And please consider subscribing to the YouTube backup channels and hitting the bell for notifications. With all the backup channels, I have only published one video on each. That was quite a while ago, but they're all there just in case something ever happens here. And I do get notifications from time to time that some of you are not receiving notifications. The only solution I can provide is to make sure that the bell is hit to all for the live stream notifications. Otherwise, I think it's just very random when you receive them. So that's the best I can suggest there. Also, I'm on ODYSEE and Twitter, Instagram, DLIVE, Twitch. I was just playing a game on Twitch last night for fun. I don't play video games too often, but I just got a new game and it's been a little fun. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Oh yeah, I also have YouTube memberships. Anyone who wants to join the Last Timers Club, levels 2 and 3 get monthly live streams where they're usually towards the 3rd or 4th week of each month. And I also have a new way to, this is brand new, just a couple weeks ago I put this out, where I'd never taken cash donations except through YouTube's thing, but now I have Stream Elements, and you can see that pinned in the comment above, or also in the comment section as well. If you'd like to throw something my way, that's very much appreciated, but of course, nothing is ever expected. I will never withhold information in exchange for money, but if you want some extra perks, feel free to sign up for the membership. And if you'd like to make a donation, you're more than welcome to. And I very much appreciate it. I am thinking of, I'm going to start getting business cards created and flyers to pass them out randomly. And then I've got some big ideas in my head to try and spread the word here. So I'll keep you guys updated on that, but you know, things like donating to the Stream Elements will help with that. But you know, again, I understand we live in crazy times with inflation, and everyone's got their own thing going on. So just remember, I will never, ever, ever withhold information in exchange for money. This topic exceeds all of us. It transcends all of us, and all that's important is that we all continue to try and spread the word as much as we can. So that's the biggest thing we can do for our fellow brothers and sisters, our spirits, our souls out there who are seekers and receptive to information. You know, drop a link, or sometimes links can't be seen, but you know, drop the channel name, drop Wayne's website, drop Dan's channel, and let's just try and get the word out there. I mean, Eric was kind enough to share it, and that was huge. It just opened a gate for many others to see what's going on, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, I put forth all this energy into everything here because I feel it's like a duty to do. I feel it's something I just have to do. And I don't care where it leads, where it goes. I just want the information out there. So thank you so much. Much love and blessings. And I'll see y'all again real soon. Thank you.